Hi everybody, and welcome to lesson 3.4, which is on mixed numbers and improper fractions. Let's go ahead and download our green notes, and while you're at it, if you'd like to put the blue worksheet into Notability as well, you can go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright, lesson 3.4 is on mixed numbers and improper fractions. Our learning target is I can express numbers greater than 1 using mixed numbers and improper fractions. So we've got a couple definition words that we need to talk about with mixed numbers and improper fractions. You may have seen these in the past. So a mixed number is a whole number and a fraction combined. So if I add them together, I get a sum which is greater than 1. So in my picture, if I count my wholes, I've got 3 circles here that are completely filled in, so my whole number would be 3. I have part of a whole left over, so this right here would be a fraction, which is 2/3 because there's 2/3 of that circle filled in. So my mixed number would be 3 and 2/3. Ooh. Alright, let's take a look at a couple examples. We are going to write each amount as a mixed number. So in my first problem here, I've got 3 wholes, and right here, I've got 1/2. So my answer is 3 and 1/2. In number 2, I've got 2 wholes, and then right here, I've got 3 out of 8 shaded in, so my answer is 2 and 3/8. Now, when I am representing a number with fractions that is greater than 1, I could use mixed numbers, but I can also use something that's called an improper fraction. An improper fraction represents the same as a mixed number, however, we only use a fraction, we don't have a whole number. This causes our numerator to be either greater or equal to the denominator. So let's go ahead and take a look at this picture example. So in this picture example, I notice that all of my circles are split up into thirds. So my denominator is going to be 3. My numerator, I count how many thirds I have. I've got 3. I'll change the color here for you. I've got 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. So my improper fraction that represents this amount is 11 thirds. Let's take a look at a couple more examples. I'm going to write each amount as an improper fraction. So in this example, all of my wholes are split up into fifths. I want to count how many fifths I have, and that will be my numerator. 5, 10, 15, and then one more is 16. So my answer is 16 fifths. In number 2, it looks like my denominator is going to be 6 because each of my wholes is split up into 6. So this represents 6/6. This represents 6 more, so that's 12. And I've got 5 more over here for a total of 17 sixths. So my improper fraction is 17 sixths. Now, one important thing that we need to know how to do when I have mixed numbers, I need to be able to change them into improper fractions. And we have a strategy here that will help us out. So the first thing I want to do is I want to look at my picture and figure out what mixed number is being represented in my picture. Well, right here I have 3 wholes, and then in this part right here, I've got 3 fifths. Now, when we change a mixed number into an improper fraction, we do something that I call around the world. First, we're going to focus on my denominator. My denominator never changes. So when I'm changing my mixed number into my improper fraction, my denominator is still going to be 5. So I like to take that and just slide that right over. Now to figure out how many fifths I have, I can simply count all of my pink ones right here, but we don't always have a picture, and drawing a picture can be kind of difficult. So we have a strategy called around the world. We're going to multiply the denominator by the whole number, and then add the numerator. So in this example, we've got 5 times 3 is 15, and then I add that to 3, which is 18. So I have 18 fifths. Now let's go over here and check and make sure that that makes sense. Alright, right here I've got 5 fifths, 5 more for 10, 5 more for 15, and then 3 more for 18. So let's make sure our answer says 18 fifths. And it does, so we know we've got it right. Let's try the around the world strategy to write each mixed number as an improper fraction. So the first thing I'm going to do I'm going to rewrite this so it's a little bigger for us. We got 5 1/3. I'm going to change this to an improper fraction, and my denominator always stays the same, so I'm just going to slide it over. I now multiply my denominator by my whole number. 3 times 5 is 15, and then I add 1 to get 16. So I've got 16/3. 16/3 is the same as 5 1/3. Example number 2, I've got 7 5/8. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my denominator and slide it straight over, so my denominator is still going to be 8. I now use my around the world method by multiplying the denominator by the whole number. 8 times 7 is 56, and then I add that to my numerator, so add 5 and I get 61. So 61/8 is the same as 7 5/8. Now, not only do we need to know how to change mixed numbers into improper fractions, but we need to know how to change improper fractions into whole numbers. So to do this, I'm going to use division. So if you remember when we talked about what fractions first were, parts over whole, we talked that a fraction bar is the same as division. So in this problem right here, I've got 25/3, but I could also read that as 25 divided by 3. If I read that as a division problem, it's going to help me change it into a mixed number. So I'm going to rewrite this so I can do some long division. 25 divided by 3. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to complete my problem. So I know that 3 goes into 25 8 times. 8 times 3 is 24. I subtract, I've got a 1 left over. Now I have no other numbers to bring down, so I'm going to stop right here. So my whole number is actually going to be what's on top of my house there. Okay, that's going to be part of my quotient. So my whole number is 8. Now if you remember, we said our denominator never changes. So if I go back over here, my denominator is 3. So in my answer, my denominator still has to be 3. Now I got to figure out what's the numerator going to be. Well, the numerator is going to be our remainder. So I've got 1 left over, so that means I've got 1/3. So our answer is 8 1/3. Let's give the division strategy a try here in problems 1 and 2, writing each improper fraction as a mixed number. So I've got 38/5. Now remember, I could rewrite that as a division problem by saying 38 divided by 5. So let's go ahead and write some long division here by putting 5 on the outside of the house and 38 on the inside. And now I need to go ahead and complete my division. 5 goes into 38 7 times. 7 times 5 is 35, and I subtract, and I've got no other number to bring down. So I know that this top number right here, this is going to be my whole number because it's in my quotient. So there's my whole number, 7. Remember, our denominator never changes, so my denominator was 5, so it's going to continue to be 5. And then last but not least, I've got my remainder there. That's going to be my numerator. So 38/5 is the same as 7 3/5. Let's try one last example. I've got 27/4, which is the same as 27 divided by 4. So we're going to rewrite that as a long division problem, 27 divided by 4, and I'm going to go ahead and complete the process. So 4 goes into 27 6 times. 6 times 4 is 24, and I subtract. I have no other number to bring down, so I know that I'm done with my problem. Now I just need to rewrite it. I've got all the numbers I need, but I need to make sure they're in the right spot. So remember this big number up there? That's going to be my whole number, so 6. As always, our denominator never changes, so it's still going to be 4. And then my remainder, which is this 3, that becomes my numerator. So 27/4 is the same as 6 3/4. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our lesson on improper fractions and mixed numbers. Make sure to go ahead and complete the blue worksheet and the necessary iExcel. As always, if you need any help, reach out on Schoology, and I'll make sure to get back to you as soon as possible. Good luck, everyone. Peace.